Or records to the computer. Okay. So how was Mardi Gras, Oscar?
It
Oscar,
was okay.
he's frozen.
Okay, just a word of warning. Nobody ask me anything. If I want to talk about it, I'll bring it up. Just don't ask me.
Why?
If
Why is
if
that,
you ask
Barry?
me, you're going to get
You're
verbally
asking.
abused.
That's a
You've been
question,
warned.
Roy.
Why is that, Barry?
What should I speak? Should I tell you this in Spanish? I just told you not. Don't ask me any questions. I'm only going to talk about what I want to talk about.
That's fine.
Like the Cuban food that I had today, it was great. And I owe it all to Oscar. Oscar turned me onto this small little place, and I drove from wherever I was. I drove from Miami to La Belle, and just to eat in this restaurant, and it was good.
Well, I'd love to hear about Mardi Gras. Were you at Mardi Gras?
Oscar was.
Okay. He might have technical difficulties.
Oscar, can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Okay, so how was Mardi Gras?
It was just okay. There's a lot of things that it could be the market, it could be the layout, or there's a lot of things in that show that makes things complicated for everybody. But there was people buying, but it was really selective, but it never got crowded. So the attendance was poor, in my opinion, compared to other years. But there was people buying, but there was really selective, and when they spend the money, they was spending big money. But everybody has a different opinion about the show. So there's some people that did really well. There's other people that barely made booth fee. Uh, the other people that didn't even hit the booth fees. There was like no energy overall buying. Um, I don't know, but it's most of the photographers that I talked, they was really disappointed. So so I don't know what to tell you about that. I know that painters did really well, sculptures did really well from what I heard. But it's nothing uh I think that they fixed the layout a little bit better. It will solve some of the problems. They're talking about changing the date so they're not compete with Coconut Grove, but that means they might compete with Fort Myers or Naples Invitational or Bonita. Who knows? Maybe if you compete against Bonita, it's not a big deal, to be honest with you.
You know, it's pretty good the dates because if you don't get into one, you can do the other one, and I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, if they don't want to compete, I guess the beginning of March would be good, right before, winter, the week before Winter Park.
Well, it will be the week before Winter Park, actually.
Which is three weeks from now.
Hmm.
Actually, wait, yeah, 2 weeks from now.
Yeah, because it will be in between Gasparilla and
Yeah, but that's under the oaks. So if you want to do that one, that kind of it's going to compete with something no matter
going to
what.
compete with something no matter what.
Yeah,
If I was going to move it, I would move it for the week before. But the problem is the show has always been that weekend and changing dates.
not a good idea,
A good idea.
right?
Here.
So
Do you,
meanwhile, it's 87 degrees here in
very cool.
in Fort
Or very
Myers,
warm.
Florida. I got the air conditioning
Very
on.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah, very
I
cool.
like warm weather. That's why I call it school. Is it a general rule? Like, I think some of you met me a couple weeks ago. I was on the call and I'm trying to make a decision, whether to go full time with this. And It's probably going to be next year if I do go full time. And so
You
this summer I'd be,
you can't ask that question. It's different for everybody. So no matter what
yeah.
anybody says to you, it has no meaning. So don't ask that question. Just decide for yourself.
Well, I mean, I'm kind of deciding to go that route, but it's a
Good for you.
decision of we're
Where do
going to
you
move.
live? Oh, Texas.
We live Texas and we're going to move. So we're trying to, do we go Midwest? Do we go Southeast? And I'm really intrigued about these Florida shows, but it sounds like
The
every
things like that.
weekend you're going to apply for two and hope to get into one, and you're hoping to get into the better one, but you might not.
The
Or
things
is
like the
that?
Florida market is completely different from the rest of the country.
My suggestion is you put up the map of Florida on a dartboard, put a blindfold on, throw the dart, and wherever that lands, that's where you go. It's totally arbitrary. It's totally random.
Well,
Nobody can answer that question.
not the peninsula.
Only you can answer that question. Yeah,
Well,
right.
not like so much to live, but like the shows that I've been
I answered it. That
understanding.
it's been answered by me. I mean, I answered
Oh,
that.
gotcha, mean.
Do you have you done any Howard Allen shows?
No, and I've been told not to, and other
But
people
that's
say it's not that
bullshit.
bad.
Howard Allen is a big draw for artists for Florida that can't get into the majors.
Gotcha.
The only reason why you don't want to do Howard Allen shows is because most of the shows you have to set up in the morning. And it's really, in my opinion, it's really toxic on your body.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
but
can
see,
talk
I
about
like
that.
that.
I
I,
can
I
talk about that.
You know,
Um, I pretty much begged them 7 months in advance to put me on the inner circle at St. Armand Circle. And Elaine, who now runs it instead of Howard, Howard always gave me a good spot. Elaine said, "Well, we can't guarantee, and I explained to her like, I'm older. I need all day to set up and all that. And I think they thought they were giving me a good spot because yes, you could pull right up to the place and you could unload. I mean, the unload and the setup was good, but I was tired. I got there at 3 in the morning. I didn't sleep, and to tell you the truth, I suffered the last 3 weeks until last night. I was so tired I slept really a long time. It really bummed me out that she did that to me. And look at, I think that they were thinking that they were helping me out by putting me on the street, but but the deal is that I know myself. I That whole morning thing messed me up for the whole rest of the time I was in Florida. And I knew it was going to happen because it happened before. And so, you know,
That's a good
I'm not
point
going
of
to put
view.
myself in that position ever again. So that's.
yeah, unless you're a morning person.
Well,
no,
unless you're 30 years old and you can do it. I'm not
no,
30
I used
anymore.
to love setting up in the morning.
I'm a
That way you
morning
didn't lose a
person.
day.
I'm a morning person, Larry, and I wake up every day early.
Me too.
But I honestly, but if you had to do the setup, at least in my case, it's really toxic on me. I can do it, but by 3 o'clock, I just want to get the hell out of there because my body cannot handle it anymore. I'm really, really tired.
Me too.
And the problem with me when I get tired, I don't, I, I, I start not pronouncing my words properly, and people have a hard time understanding me.
Yeah. And I
Right.
get cranky and I can't, it ruins me. And it actually, this morning was the first morning that I was actually had some energy. The whole rest of the time I was trying to catch up from that.
So, but I would tell you apply to the shows, see, try it by yourself. Don't go by what we're saying, to be honest with
Yeah, see
you.
what, yeah, everybody can get accepted or rejected depending on their product for sure.
And not only that is, our products are so, our work is so different. what happens to me, uh, my experience is going to be totally different than yours,
Right.
and because you got different body work than me.
Hmm.
Well,
Uh,
Well, what I'm looking for is, decent crowds. And somebody wrote on Facebook that Mardi Gras was bad because they just didn't have the caliber of artists that they tout they have. Well, if Coconut Grove is the same weekend, obviously some of the better folks are going there, so what's left? Or is there just so many artists that doesn't really matter?
I read that, and I'm going to tell you my opinion. There was a lot of people in there that have done Coconut Grove in the past. They didn't get this year. I can count at least 25 of them.
So then they're
It's the
both good
jury.
caliber.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I just think there's people, like I said, there was people with money. The traffic is less because the only thing that you do, this is the thing about Mardi Gras that gets overlooked. When you go to Mardi Gras, the only thing that you're going to be doing in there, really, I don't know where he got this idea of all the things, but it's only about the arts. There's nothing else in there. You're going to the show. There's no stores around. There's no music playing around. There's no nothing. And they did a really good advertising, uh, and they do everything right. I just think that the problem with that show was the layout makes the show too choppy.
you're talking about Mardi Gras?
Yeah, the layout is too choppy. Like if you're walking from the 100 to the 300, looks like a straight line, and then the 200s are behind that, but you cannot see the 400. If you come from the 400s, you're going to see the 200, and maybe you see the 300s and then the 100. The where they pick up where they should be picking up and dropping off the people in the same spot, so people forced to walk the show. But no, they have two different an area where they drop off and area where they pick up. So you only see the person once at best. Autograph booth entrance is cheaper, parking is cheaper. Uh, if I was going to, in the past, I've done really well in autograph. No, this year, I usually have matched my numbers on Coconut Grove. No, this year, but um, I would tell you if financially autograph is 2 days, a double booth is going to be $1,350. Uh, Coconut Grove, a double booth is going to be $1,800. You have to pay for parking, and that's another thing that gets overlooked. In undergrad, you don't have to pay for parking, so the show is a lot cheaper to do.
That makes sense.
With Coconut Grove, the parking is great because it's a big field and all the artists park in there, and you can stay there for 4 nights or 5 nights. You can get there a day early. You can stay in the parking lot, and then it ended yesterday, but you can stay overnight, and there was a whole group of people there, and it's kind of a party atmosphere.
Yeah, but you
And
just have to pay $55, I think, for parking in there.
it's
And when
reasonable.
yeah, but undergrad, you don't have to pay for that. It's a
Yeah.
free parking.
And at Ann Arbor, it's $20 a day. So
Well,
it's cheaper
assuming
than
that you do you go to find the parking space every day, but if not, you have to pay $100 to secure the space. So this, I'm not going to tell you one way or another one. I just think that, and I don't know. I really don't
okay.
know.
Well, I
Okay.
think I think we're probably going to try to rent a house for, next January through March down there and just try it. And I think you guys, that's the best I could do. And I'm hoping I want to apply to like even Del Rey Affair, but that's probably the least. But also, um, I don't know, maybe Gasparilla. Is that asking too much? I'd love to do Mount Dora and Coconut Grove, but I'm guessing it's too hard to get in there if you haven't ever
So
done it.
the hardest show to get in Florida is Winter Park, then
Okay.
Gasparilla, and then Coconut Grove.
Okay.
The reason why Gasparilla is so hard to get in because the people that go there are going for the prize money. The cheapest prize money is 1,300 or 1,400, something like that.
It's over a
Wow.
$100,000 in prizes,
Yeah.
Good. Good for
awards.
the artist if you can get in.
And even if you get selected, that puts you ahead of the game, but it's no guarantee. And there are people that be in the poster, the feature artist, poster artist, and they don't get in the next year.
Mhm.
Hi, Court.
Are there any indoor
Hello.
shows?
What?
Are there any indoor shows anywhere
No,
that
the only indoor show is West Palm Beach, and you don't want to do that.
okay.
It's the most expensive show in there.
It's like probably 5,000 for your booth or something. I
It's
mean,
ridiculous
sometimes
like
they're
that.
that high. Yeah. Okay.
But you know, like I say, I was you apply if you coming down here for 3 months, apply to a show every weekend and book shows with Howard. If you like the East Coast, Howard is the person to do shows with. And but just be aware that you're going to have morning set up. That's the only thing. And you have to force yourself to go to bed like at 6 o'clock. And it's really hard.
Yeah. I don't know if
Actually,
I could set up and show on the same day. I
some
honestly have never tried
something
that.
something else about Howard's shows. They close right away on Zap. What's your medium?
I'm ceramic. Um, I
Um,
do, but I'm not doing pottery to eat off of. It's all fine art.
yeah, I know, but everybody, when as soon as his applications become available, everybody applies.
Well, here's how it works. Once you get it, once you're accepted, then for every other show you're automatically accepted. But it, it fills up in order of when you apply. So once that fills up, once they fill it up, then it goes to a wait list, and good luck getting off the wait list. I mean, it takes your money even up to the last day before the show.
Wow.
And but you go there and it says you're on the wait list, and really, there's always 50 people ahead of you. So, you know, you can get in off the wait list if you go to the show and you bug the people. You tell them I'm here, and that's really the only way you can get in. And then that's also the morning of the show. At least for me, that's what I ended up doing. What I wanted to do. Let's say Sarasota, which is last week or next week. It's one of the two. I forgot. Uh, uh, yeah. So that's how it works. It's just the show comes out, you apply. Some shows and are really early. They fill up really early, like St. Amand's Circle, and some shows, it dawdles on, and I think it might have to do with the quality of the show, but I don't know that. So there's a lot of them.
Okay. I'll look at his website.
Aren't there big shows in Texas? Like,
So, um, the weird thing about where I live in Austin, they don't have any like areas where you could just pull off a big show, with the exception of the Palmer Event Center, which is indoors, and they put on what they call the affordable art fair, which you have to be part of a gallery. So you have to find a group of artists and call yourself a gallery to get into that. And they just started doing the affordable art fair like 2 years ago. Then they have, and again, it's as a group, you're showing with other artists, you're looking for commissions. And then they have the Armadillo Arts Fest, which is at Christmas time. And it's a pedigree show. They don't put up applications. If they see you at any place, whether you're in the studio tour or whatever, and they want you to apply, they'll go up to you and say, "Hey, we think you should apply." And it's a rotating thing. When we decide we want to put you in the show, we will. And it's more about Austin pedigree. And I wasn't born here, so there's a lot of people who've been here a lot longer than I have.
You're getting some wrong information there about that. I
About
have very good
Armadillo.
friends that have done that show multiple times. don't
And
live
they
anywhere
had
near
to be
Texas.
asked. They had to
Huh?
be asked
No.
because
Nope, they didn't
I
ask.
I
They,
applied
they
myself and they said unless you get asked, you're probably not getting in. So then I got asked to apply. I applied, I still didn't get in, and then I asked again. I don't think I fit that vibe. I've attended the show. I've gone to the show multiple times. And
it
it's
is a
it's
gift
more
market.
kitsch. Yeah, it's more kitsch. I mean
No, it's a
there's some
gift
artsy
market.
stuff, but yeah.
It's a gift market, and you have to have a range of items, not just your expensive art that you would sell in a fine art, a juried fine art fair. You have to have a wide range of products.
Right.
And if you don't have that, you're not going to get in.
And
And
I
I know
don't, mine
artists,
are more high end. And so, I mean, I don't have products under $100. So I
yeah,
don't think I would
that
get
is
in.
most likely why you're not getting in.
Right. So that's why I turned to like Bayou City. I've done Fiesta in San Antonio. I'm going to the Arboretum in Dallas in April. And I was told I should apply for the affordable art fair, or no, not the affordable. Which one is it? The one in the Dallas Fair Hall. I think it's Wisachi, the other art fair. They all sound alike. But have any of you done the other art fairs with Saatchi? They're so
No,
expensive.
there is art fair in Fort Worth in October that I heard is very nice.
The Main Street show?
No, October.
Okay.
The Main Street show's in April. There's one in October. There is a show in Granbury, Texas, around the square about the same time, maybe the same weekend.
Okay. I'll look into those.
Um, I know there's some other spring shows because I'm sure they're closed now.
Yeah.
I know there's some other spring closed because I've talked to artists that have done other ones. I just can't remember where are.
Right. Well, I think sometimes when you're a fine artist, you're stuck. Like I've shown in galleries and been asked to show in galleries. I used to own a gallery, but what I feel like happens is you get all the accolades, but none of the sales. And so when I go to these shows that I can get into, I do really well. And, you're going to come home with thousands of dollars. When I get the accolades of showing in, a local gallery, they all want to talk about you and your work. But at the end of the day, you might sell two or three items, because you just don't get a crowd at a gallery, you know, you don't get 100,000 people through or even
Right.
20,000 people
It's
through.
not about numbers. It's about, uh, I mean, you can do very well at a show that has low numbers. As long as the show has the demographics you're looking for, or
Right.
what
And
most artists call their people.
yeah, that's true. Do you feel like Instagram and, advertising on your own and having your own email list is the best thing, whether you're doing shows or galleries?
Well, you've got to have that no matter what.
Right.
That's how you build your community. And so that's critical no matter where you're selling stuff.
Yeah. I've always had Instagram and a website, but I haven't been really, really good about my email list. And I'm
There's
thinking
there
that's the problem.
I don't have that many people signing for my email while I'm down here, but it's something that, well, let me rephrase that. Doesn't matter what show for the last year and a half, I haven't hard time people signing for the email. I'm going to be a little more aggressive about it now, but you need to uh you need to do an email blast every month regardless if you're doing shows or not. Uh you need to do when you're doing a show, if you can try to spend some money in Instagram or most likely Facebook. Uh, just you not to spend a ridiculous amount of money. Some people say that you spend $100. I think that's too much for us. I think if you can spend $10 in advertising, that helps. But uh, because the show is advertising, this is the Corey and I talked about this last year. The show is there to advertise the event. The Facebook ad that you make, the email that you make is to for you to advertise, hey, I'm going to be part of this show. Come and see me at this show. Because
Hmm.
they're not advertising you. You need to still advertise yourself. And and that's where most of artists fall apart. And sometimes, you know, in Adigra, Karina made an excellent Instagram post in the middle of the show because she was bored. And 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 that's what you have to be doing that constantly because you don't know what's going on. Um, but that's just me, you know. I try to do my post early in the morning when do I do a post when I'm setting up. I do a post another one when on Saturday morning, another one on Sunday, and basically you have to do everything that you can so when the you finish the show, if the show goes great, you're going to be fine, and you don't think about it. It's when the show goes bad, it's when you need to know you did everything right, everything that you could, and you cannot think about anything else that you could do other than create better work for that crowd. And that's the only thing you should be worried about, making more work, better work.
Hmm.
Hey,
Other
I got a question for Court. Court,
Yeah.
are you doing the garage sale?
No.
Yeah, because you did that one year.
I've done it 2 or 3 times.
Yeah. Is there a reason why you stopped?
Um, well, I did really good the first year, and then my sales went down
Hmm.
the other times I did it, and um, for me to get up there, uh,
Yeah, it's a haul.
yeah, it's a 12-hour drive.
Yeah.
and for one day show.
Yeah.
Well, that's okay. I stopped doing it because you have people selling stuff for $5 and $10. I can't compete with that. So
Well, that's what I was doing. Now I made money doing
Where
it.
is that? What are you talking about?
It's
There
in
is in Kalamazoo, Michigan, there is the um garage sale art fair. It's a 1 day indoor art fair. I think it's probably next weekend. Is it next weekend, Oscar?
yeah, it's this
yeah, this
It's next
weekend,
weekend, 1 day
this
Saturday.
Saturday.
And what you do is you go up there with all the stuff you've collected over the last 10, 20, 30, 40 years. It's not just your art, but if you've got tools and other things that other artists may be interested in, you just go up there. It's a garage sale.
Okay.
So
That would
I've
be
had
interesting.
I've had a really interesting experience in Florida. So I'm getting out of my van like right at the first show, and I hear somebody going, I said, "Hey Barry, how you doing?" He says he recognized my voice. He had never, he'd only seen me here. What was it from? The Larry Berman um, jury evaluation thing, or or this or this thing that gets recorded and they watch it afterwards. I had people tell me they watch it every week, and I'll tell you something. I thought we were kind of anonymous. I had at least 6 or 7 or 8 people come up to me and tell me that they either watched that or I had people thanking me for helping them out. One person said, "Boy, I'm really glad you helped me out with my artist statement," and it was kind of funny. It was kind of cool. So Larry, if you're hearing this, you know, I'm telling you this, we actually have an impact on humanoids, on artists. And it was fun to hear about it.
For sure. I mean, I appreciate what you guys have been talking about because I think there's a lot of people out there that want to do it or want to do certain shows and they're a little reluctant because we're all just throwing money out there and you don't know, whether you're going to get in.
See, and I'll
So,
never, I'll never talk about a show and whether somebody should do it because it's all different for everybody, and I can't answer that question. The only way The only way is if you do the show and figure it out, because that's what I did for years. That's the only way. I will never answer any of these questions because it's irrelevant. In fact, from year to year, it's irrelevant because the juries are different. So
Well, I guess I'm not saying whether, I guess
you're
my point
asking,
is
you
you're
are asking what to
describing,
do, and I
yeah.
can't answer that.
No,
I've
but
talked about that.
when you guys describe like the fact that you have to set up the day of the show or the parking's free or this is better or that's better, that does help me decide whether it's right for me, because some of those, it's not just about the art, it's also about the logistics.
Yeah, that's
And if you can't pull it off or that's something you don't think you could do, then it's better to know that up front than before you send in your jury fee and then you realize what you're getting into.
Yeah, but all that information typically, that information, and then, I think for new artists, one of the biggest pieces of information that they need is number of booths and number of applications, and it's all on
Right,
Zap. If you
That's
just
right.
right.
take the time to
Read
read the prospectus, it's all there.
read what they say on Zap. And if you have
Mhm.
to read it if you have to read it twice or three times and read it slowly, because yes, if you find out when you get there something that you could have read about, oh yeah. And I've done
Yeah.
that. I mean, everybody's been guilty of that, but
I did do a spreadsheet for Florida. I've got about 25 lines on this spreadsheet of different shows. What month you have to send in the application, how many years they've done it, what the attendance is, the number of artists that get in, whether it's on the east, west coast, or central Florida. I mean, I do my research and then I did another spreadsheet for the Midwest. And you can read and compile all this application stuff. I do that, but I'm kind of, at the end of the day, when I talk to some people who've done it before, it's a very different experience. Like heard this one person say that Kansas City wasn't that great of a show, and I heard another person say they had a $25,000 show there. So you really, it's very true that it's about what kind of art you have, but if at the end of the day nobody sells more than $2,000 at a given show, I probably am not going to go. And I had no idea that one in St. Petersburg, I had mentioned to you guys, I got into the invited to send my stuff over to that Bethel show, and one of you guys had been in Bethel. I think, who was it that had said they were in that one at one time?
I think
But
it was
anyway,
Barry.
was it Barry?
oh
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah,
You brought
and
that up. I thought I was going to get away with that. I'm not talking about it.
you don't have to talk about it. I'm just
No.
saying, I
Why
sent
would
because
you?
some,
I done it. I get invited, and when I start doing the math, it will not work for me.
I would
right.
listen. I would suggest anybody who got invited to it would do it. Should do it.
And I did do it, and I did send some stuff, and they sold half of what I sent, and
Right.
I'm happy with it. But I'm not so sure I'd do it again. But I did package the stuff just immaculately because I was worried they'd break it, sending it back. And they did send it back in the packaging, the part that didn't sell. So it was fine, but that was the part that made me nervous. Like people unpacking and repacking your stuff, that scares me because they break something. What are you going to do? So
They got insurance, so you don't have to worry about it.
yeah, they pay you for it probably. Yeah.
The first year.
Yeah. But anyway, I did feel good about what sold, and I'm also noticing the types of my work that are selling. And so I'm hoping that I can, just kind of replicate that, duplicate off that. So, did any of you guys apply to St. Louis, or are you going to?
Everybody applies, and
Well, I did.
you
Probably
know,
won't get in, but I applied.
Is it the same kind of numbers as like Cherry Creek?
Yep.
Like as far as applications to
yeah.
acceptance?
Yes.
Okay.
I
So
would say
that's
that
tough.
the
You're going to find all the top shows typically have
Alyssa Thompson.
somewhere around 10 to 15% acceptance rate.
Yeah,
That's just pretty common.
and they get about no less than 1,000 applications.
right. Well, Cherry
Most
Creek
and
was 1900 or something, 19
yeah.
over 1900.
So yeah,
So do you have your secondary shows that you're like, man, this is a pretty darn good secondary show, or do you just kind of bat around and see what you can find every year and make
You know,
changes?
let me. This is what I learned on time. You can do a so-called top show, A show, and do horrible on it.
Mhm.
You can just go there and make the same amount of money that you would make in a regular show. So this the getting to the top shows is only means that you should be able to make your sales easier than a low end show. A low end show you might have to be a little more aggressive, be more in your game. And a top show you should be able to sell a little bit easier. The only problem with the top show is now you're competing against everybody that's so-called really good in the industry. So your stuff has to be top notch. You cannot go there with half-ass job, dirty display. You have to go there, present yourself the best possible way, and do the best you can. And be sure you can get away with some things. And 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 this is from Core Nation. It's a show that pull national artists from every part.
I came up with my own way of describing shows.
Yeah. And I think that
Um,
that's the best way to describe it. It's everything. The A shows is brings everybody from everywhere. The B shows is the regional shows like the Midwest area, the Florida area, and then the
Okay.
C show is the one that people only from the state and nearby go to that show. But it
well,
doesn't mean there's going
people
to be.
saying people saying a show, and are they talking about the size of the show? Are they talking about how much money they've made at that show? It
I
can mean a
think.
lot of different things. So what I describe them as national, regional, and local.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, a national show is going to pull artists from all over the country.
Mm-hmm.
Automatically, they're going to pull artists from all over the country. They also tend to be the bigger shows. We're talking 200, usually 200, some are a little bit smaller, but at least 200 booths. Okay,
Hmm.
regional shows are going to pull people from, you know, the surrounding states, whatever state it's in and the surrounding states. Now, you might get people from outside that. If maybe they're trying to string several shows together or whatever, you'll get other artists. But typically, that's where they pull most of the artists from. And then local shows are just going to be the ones that are pulling from within like a 60 or 70-mile radius. And a
And,
lot of local shows are not even juried.
and some.
Right. So do you pepper your schedule when you're trying to come up with stuff? Do you have like a backup plan? Like I'm going to apply for this big show. If I don't get in, I'm going to do this one or this one. And then
So
you just
if
kind
this
of,
is the only source of income that you have,
hmm.
what shows you have? You have to do a show. That you have.
Right.
So
Yes, you
it's
Right.
have to
not.
do that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when I was doing shows, I used to apply to all, I had a list of 10 or 15 shows that were the top shows in the country, and I would apply every year, whether I got in or not.
And that's how you have to do it because you cannot, and there's no guarantee you're going to get in. And
Right.
and they and there's a lot of discussions, and some people don't agree about it, and I don't argue about it anymore because it's beating the dead horse about it. Uh,
Well, but that is partly why I told my husband, I think I love living in Austin, but he doesn't. And I said I would rather move when he retires because there's a lot of places that have better regional and local shows. Like Austin just has nothing. So no matter what I do, I'm driving. And if my sister lives in Michigan and, because it's a summer vacation place, there's a lot of shows in Michigan and there's a lot of cheap places in Michigan that you can live. Now, the winters are horrible, but if you planned on going down to Florida and doing Florida shows, you're not going to be there the whole winter anyway, so it's kind of that thing. The regional shows, I've seen some regional shows around like Crystal Bridges, Arkansas, Branson area. Then there's quite a few regional shows in Colorado, just tons in a clump. But if you had to pick an area of the country where you're like, well, there's quite a few shows you can at least try to get into, I would say like South Carolina, maybe, or North Carolina. There's areas where there's quite a few, but otherwise you're just driving, 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 driving. And that's what I wanted to kind of avoid.
I would tell you that if my perspective is like I like to stay in the Midwest area in the summer. I come down here for the winter months down here to Florida, but you can go to Colorado and do the from what I understand about the Colorado shows is the people they own houses in Texas and they spend the summer in Colorado because it's too hot for them in Texas.
I
And
know a lot of those people.
so that's so if you do well with the Texas crowd, maybe the Colorado is a good route to go. The problem in the Midwest is that it's still recovering from some things, so you may or may not do well in the shows. And
And
once
that's what I felt when I used to live in the Midwest, and there's no consistent money there. And in Houston, there's incredible consistent money. Like every time I show in Houston, I just know I'm going to have a good show. And I've had times where I haven't been on my top of my game, my couldn't get something to work or my display wasn't perfect. I always have a good show. I mean, Houston is just that way. They look at stuff differently based on the art, and then I've seen several shows in Florida, but I've never showed there. I flew over there when my son lived over there, and it just looked like I would kind of fit into those shows because of my style and what I sell. So we'll see, but there's always that question mark in your mind. Are you going after something that won't be true? So I do think maybe just renting, and maybe we rent in two different places, before we trying to decide where we're going to end up. But it's pretty tough to do that when you're a ceramic artist because I have a kiln, so that's a tough move. You got to find a place that's got a dryer in the garage or something so you can unplug the dryer and plug in my kiln. It runs on the same plug. So anyway,
Hey,
Yeah, and you're also
Roy.
good. I mean, when you're talking about Florida in the winter, ooh, your cost of living is going to be way up there.
right. So you're better off to own in Florida and then just summer in the north. I've got so many friends up north that I could stay with a friend every single show. Where in Florida, I don't necessarily have that.
Yeah,
Well,
that gets old.
also, just period, living there year round, the cost of living there is one of the highest in the country.
Yeah, except they don't charge you don't have any income tax. And if you don't go right on the coast, I've noticed the coast is very expensive. Plus, you're kind of laying open yourself to hurricanes. But if you're more central, I have an aunt and uncle, three uncles that live in Central Florida, and their cost of living is really cheap. But it's nothing to write home about. It's not like the typical Florida experience that people would want.
what
I,
time they
I'm
live,
sorry. There's no place in Florida that you don't have
That's
to deal with
cheap.
hurricanes.
Yeah, okay. Well, they don't deal with their roof coming off. They're kind of smack in the center and they've lived there for over 50 years and they haven't had an issue. So, but they're in a one-story house in Central Florida.
what town?
Avon Park. It's south of Orlando, but they're kind of right in the center of the fruit industry. A lot of orchards and such. And they have a house that they've had forever and they've had a swimming pool forever, but they take care of it. It's not fancy, but it's, workable.
Yeah, but Central Florida right now is not cheap neither. I can tell you that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, compared to Austin, oh my gosh, like we had a house that we bought in 20, let's see, we bought, I think, 2016. That's what it was. And we sold it in 2022, just 6 years later, for 250,000 more than we bought it for. It was more than double what we bought it for. We bought a house for like, I think it was 240 that we paid for it. And we sold it for like 535. Now you can't tell me that it's cheap to live in Austin anymore, because
But I got to tell you, most of
it's
the houses,
terrible.
what a real home in Central Florida is not going to cost you less than 350 to 400 right now.
Right. But in Austin, it would be 600,
Yeah,
and
but
that's for
you're not going to
something that
have
you have to fix.
and I understand that, but you also still have to the insurance is really high, the HOAs are really high. There's a lot of things that go into it that
Right.
overlook. So the only reason why I'm telling you because I've been looking to buy something down here for the last 5 years,
And it's tough. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I would not recommend anybody to buy anything right now. Uh, what I would suggest is if you guys, it's, it's just if you don't want to do it, you can rent a house for 3 months, or you can rent an RV place for 3 months or something like that. But just it's not it's not what people think it is. And so
Right.
only that
Yeah.
if you're not in Ocala or Sebree, uh, or outside the Orlando, taking Orlando out of the area, the only towns that are really nice is Ocala, Sebree, and Lakeland, and that's about it. To be honest with you, everything
Yeah.
else,
My grandparents used to live in Sebring, and that was nice,
you know. So
but
everything else, Sebree is the closest town to where I stay.
mhm.
Well, it's the second closest. No, I would say the closest central town in Florida that where I stay that has most of the stuff that any big city has. Otherwise, I need to drive to Fort Myers, and Sebree is like 45 minutes away from where I am, and Fort Myers is about in an hour where I am.
Yeah, I think yeah, that's a good area.
So, but it's not like I would say Sebree is probably, and Lake Placid is also really nice, but Sebree, you still have to drive to Sebree to get anything you need because Lake Placid doesn't have that much stuff. And Lake Okeechobee, quite honest with you, I would not want to live in the area.
No.
So,
Well, and I've been looking too where you can get clay supplies. And, there's a place outside of Orlando that most of the Florida potters get their stuff. So
High water.
is it?
High water. I don't know where it is. That's the place.
Okay.
Hey,
Because
Roy,
there's,
wait a minute.
go
Roy,
ahead.
why are you grayed out and why are you blacked out? Just because I didn't want you to ask me the questions that you usually ask me doesn't mean that you have to turn the thing off. Now get back on here and now
Gotcha.
there you go.
All right. Ta-da!
it's working. What to tell you?
Oh
Oh, well
yeah,
that
and
was
I'm working.
is that the real reason?
Yeah, I'm delivering mail.
Oh, okay. Then I take it all back.
Oh, thank you.
I'm worried that I've abused you too much and you're intimidated.
You know what? I would have to care for you to abuse me.
That's the spirit. That's what I want to hear.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about. It's funny, Deb. All of these shows. We've been doing. This is our fifth year doing shows, and Marianne does abstract art. She does big art, and you know, it, and some, these. When I read on Art Fair Review, and these guys are nailing it. They're great show, 5 figures, 6 figures, whatever. It's like, but they never list what their medium is, and it's like, what do you do? Are you a potter? Are you a photographer? Are you an artist? You're a painter? You're a printmaker? And it's like, now for Marianne, her prices start at 1,200 and go to 15. And we if we can make our booth fee and our expenses with a little bit of extra money, that's a good show for us.
Yeah.
And so it's just it's all subjective.
Right. And sometimes you're just selling it because your house is so full of it, you got to get rid of it. And that's
Yep, that's the
Katie's
truth.
like, yes.
Well, that's what they say. The biggest problem with making art is storage.
I went so crazy during COVID. I'm also a painter, but I get into shows better with my clay. So I kind of focused on that lately. But during COVID, I did so many paintings and I didn't have any shows to go to. And I finally got into a couple shows. But by the time I did with the paintings, and these weren't big major shows, these were kind of regional things. Um, I sold a few. I did okay, but I was like, I've got so much of this art. And my friend was opening a chiropractic office, and so she asked if they could put art in the different, treatment rooms and massage rooms and their office entry and all this stuff. I even put it in the bathrooms. I put like 25 pieces of art in their offices. And a couple weeks ago, she called me and said, "Guess what? We sold the business. Another chiropractor's coming in, and so can you come get your art?" And I'm thinking, that's great, but where am I going to put it? Like I just have so much stuff, and these are not things I can sell currently. So when you said the garage show in Kalamazoo, I was like, maybe I should go find a garage sale. Because, this is art that's probably I did it 6 years ago. It's not relevant. I just need to get it gone. But sometimes you need some of those shows. Maybe one of those non-juried shows. Get into that.
Buy
Well,
one, get one free.
Yeah. And honestly, I had a friend, I live not too far from an upscale community, and they had a community-wide garage sale, which hardly any of them set up a garage sale. It's not their thing, but it's a really upscale community. So I said to her, "Can I bring some of my paintings over?" And I put like 50 bucks on them and I got them sold. I got several sold. And I was selling pots for 10 and $20 that normally I would sell for 150 or, something like that. But hey, I got rid of it. And it was stuff that, I did a long time ago. Just had to get it out.
I'm losing power. I gotta go.
Well, thanks,
Okay.
Barry.
Bye, Barry.
Oh.
Be safe, Barry.
Mhm.
Port's gone.
Port's gone, Barry's gone.
All
Well,
right.
we can sign off if I monopolize too much time.
Well, I was going to ask Oscar about Tefra. We got into Tefra. Used to be,
Pay extra to be on Main Street.
yeah. Well, yeah, we're trying. Some of the or some of those booths went. Some of the block reservations went fast, so we'll see. We're getting we requested. Well, we paid for a bigger space, so we're going to
Cross
put some.
streets, cross streets are a wind tunnel.
I know. Yep. I'm actually I've got some extra weights we're going to bring, and I've heard when I was reading some of the older posts, um, the older reviews, they were saying, "Man, it's windy as heck." So I told Marianne, I said, "Well, we're going to batten down the hatches and we're going to put some double stick tape on the back of the on the paintings so they don't bang up against the pro panels. No, we'll see.
How far of a drive is that for you?
So it's an 8-hour drive. And so by the time we stop for lunch and bathrooms, it'll be a 9-hour drive. We're staying at the Hyatt Regency, which is 2 blocks away from the show, right around the corner from the show.
Cool.
And so yeah, we got really lucky. We have kind of a I'm renting a trailer unless we buy one. I really want to buy one, but I hadn't found one that I really like yet. And so, yeah, we'll see. Hopefully, it'll be a fun show, a good show.
It looks good. I just pulled it up online. It looks like a really good show. And it's just 2 days, 10 to 6, 11 to 5. That's always nice.
Yes. Yeah, we're not going to do St. Louis or Kansas City or we did apply for Ann Arbor, and that's the only show that is far away for us.
Which section of Ann Arbor did you apply? Because there's like 3 sections.
You should
Yeah, we
apply
did
to
the
all
Guild and
3
Okay.
because you can only do one.
Yep. So actually, I did the Guild and the original.
I just walked it last year. I didn't apply. I've been investigating, and the original seemed like the most authentic, and the Guild would be my second choice too. The one that was just kind of on the street. It was super random, the third section of the show.
State Street.
That's what we did. Yep.
The best place to be in the Guild is on Main Street,
Okay.
Right.
and they have 17-foot spaces in some areas.
Cool.
So if you get, you have to pay for it, but if you get lucky, that's a great space.
Yeah, I'd like the bigger space, and
But it's 17 foot deep, not wide.
Oh,
right.
gotcha.
Yeah, and so we could make it deep. We could
But you could turn that into a little gallery and have a wrapping area way at the back or something,
Or
Yep.
or a place to take a nap.
Yeah.
There you go.
Hey, Ann Arbor, those are killer hours. They were there a long time.
Yeah.
Well, they're nothing like it used to be.
It was a week before or what?
No, it used to run 4 days, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday till 9 o'clock and Saturday till 6.
Wow. That would kill you.
That'd be rough.
I forget. I went last year, but wasn't it over at 6 o'clock every day?
Yeah, and it's only 3 days now.
Yeah, so that's not so bad. I always feel like when they start a show on a Friday, you get a lot of retirees and kind of slow lookers, and then Saturday
Yeah.
you get slammed.
Ann Arbor was the type of show where you could do the same every day.
Really? So the
Yeah,
people take off work to go, probably then.
Yeah, I don't know what it's like now.
Yeah. Well, I went up and I walked it on Friday and I could get into every single booth and no problem. And then I went back on Saturday and you could barely move in the aisles. But on Friday, I was there almost the whole day Friday, and there was no problem walking around. There wasn't
See,
that many people.
when it used to start on Thursday was the best day
Yeah,
because people knew things would be gone.
get sold. Yep. Well, I was surprised because I'd heard that hype and that's why I walked the show, but Friday was not that busy, and Saturday was real good. And then I talked to some artists toward the end of Saturday night, just having little conversations, and they said they had a solid show, but a lot of them were because they'd sold a few big pieces. They weren't doing big quantities of sales, just decent sales. So maybe it's focus on the bigger stuff, which sounds like Roy,
Yeah,
it sounds like your
I
wife
don't know.
does.
That's anything could sell there
Mm,
because you get such a diverse audience.
that's true. Like there's all different salaries in Michigan, like from the very top to the very bottom.
Yeah, see,
Is that is
when I did it, it wasn't just Michigan, it was Ohio, it was
Mhm.
people came from
All over the place.
all over.
Mhm. Mhm.
All right, we're gonna call it
Yep.
a day.
Okie
You
doke.
guys have a lovely weekend, lovely week. It's Tuesday. Yeah.
Bye,
Well, Happy
We'll
everybody.
New
see you
Year.
next week.
All right,
Happy
take
New
care.
Year.
All right, bye.
Bye.